Solicitation is an essential component of real estate marketing, yet it is also one of the most tightly regulated areas under Arizona law. The Arizona Department of Real Estate, ADRA, and the Arizona Revised Statutes set forth clear boundaries to ensure that solicitation, whether by phone, mail, electronic message, or in person, is conducted with integrity, respect for privacy, and full compliance with state and federal law. These rules protect consumers from harassment or deceptive inducements, while ensuring that licensees maintain professionalism in their outreach practices. Solicitation refers to any attempt by a real estate licensee to obtain business or clients through communication designed to encourage a person to buy, sell, lease, or list property. Under ARS Title 32, Chapter 20, solicitation is considered a form of advertising and therefore must meet the same standards of honesty, clarity, and disclosure as any other form of real estate communication. The Commissioner's Rules, AHARS, R4-28-502, R4-28-50, and R4-28-1101A both emphasize that a licensee must deal fairly and communicate truthfully in all representations, including those made through solicitations. This means that even seemingly informal messages, such as postcards, social media messages, or phone calls, fall under the same legal scrutiny as formal advertisements. A major limitation on solicitation in real estate is found in federal law, specifically the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, TCPA, and the Do Not Call Implementation Act of 2003. These laws prohibit unsolicited telemarketing calls to individuals who have registered their numbers on the National Do Not Call Registry, unless the licensee has a prior business relationship or written consent from the consumer. Arizona real estate agents are bound by this federal regulation just as they are by state law. Violating the Do Not Call rules can result in fines of up to $43,792 per call, a consequence that underscores the seriousness of compliance. For example, if a real estate agent cold calls homeowners in a neighborhood to solicit listings and fails to scrub the list against the Do Not Call registry, that agent may face significant penalties and disciplinary action from the ADRE. Solicitation restrictions also apply to door-to-door canvassing and direct mail campaigns. While Arizona does not prohibit these activities outright, they must comply with local ordinances, HOA restrictions, and ADRE advertising requirements. If a licensee chooses to distribute flyers or door hangers, each piece must identify the employing broker's name exactly as licensed with ADRE under R4-28-502E, and all representations must be factual. Misleading claims, such as, "We have a buyer ready to purchase your home today," without a legitimate buyer in place, are considered false promises under ARS Section 32-2153 and can result in license suspension. Likewise, using language that implies urgency or guaranteed results without evidence, such as "sell your home in 10 days" or "we buy it," may constitute deceptive advertising. Email solicitation and digital messaging are also covered by law under the Can-Spam Act of 2003, which prohibits misleading subject lines, requires clear identification of the sender, and mandates an easy opt-out option. In Arizona, a real estate licensee sending bulk marketing emails must include their employing broker's name and contact information, consistent with R4-28-502E. For instance, if an agent sends out a monthly market update email, it must identify the brokerage and include an unsubscribe link to comply with federal regulations. Similarly, unsolicited text messages fall under TCPA rules and are only allowed with express written consent from the recipient. Another limitation on solicitation relates to targeting specific protected groups or neighborhoods, a practice known as blockbusting. which is strictly prohibited under the Federal Fair Housing Act, and ARS Section 41-149, 1.17, and Arizona Administrative Code R 10-2-105. Blockbusting occurs when a licensee attempts to induce property sales or listings by suggesting that demographic changes, such as race, religion, or national origin, will negatively affect property values. For example, an agent who sends mailers to a neighborhood implying that residents should sell before undesirable changes occur violates both federal and state fair housing laws. The ADRE treats such conduct as a serious ethical and legal breach that can result in immediate disciplinary action. Solicitation must also be truthful in how it represents services, compensation, and experience. The Commissioner's Rule R4-28-502D requires that all communications to the public be accurate and not misleading. Therefore, a licensee cannot solicit clients by promising guaranteed savings, guaranteed offers, or specific commission reductions without clearly disclosing all terms and limitations. For example, advertising "list with us and save thousands" without disclosing the actual commission rate or qualifying criteria is considered deceptive under ARS Section 32-2153A3. Finally, licensees must be mindful of privacy and professionalism in solicitation. Arizona's laws require that all consumer interactions, including unsolicited contact, reflect fair dealing and respect for confidentiality. For instance, if an agent learns through public record that a homeowner's property is in pre-foreclosure, they may contact that homeowner but must do so respectfully and truthfully. Predatory solicitation tactics, such as implying foreclosure rescue or guaranteed loan modifications, are prohibited and can result in violations of both ARS Section 44-137-8.06 and ARS Section 32-2153B4 for dishonest dealings. Review summary. Arizona's regulations on solicitation are designed to balance the need for business development with the protection of consumer privacy and honesty in advertising. Licensees must comply with both state and federal solicitation laws, including the Do Not Call Registry, CANSPAM Act, and R4-2-8-502 advertising rules. Solicitation must never mislead, harass, or exploit consumers, and must always identify the employing broker and adhere to fair housing principles. Violations can result in heavy fines, loss of license, or both. Discussion. Why must agents verify phone numbers against the National Do Not Call Registry before soliciting clients? Answer. Because under the TCPA and Do Not Call Implementation Act, calling registered numbers without prior consent violates federal law and can result in substantial fines. Why is blockbusting considered a serious violation under fair housing laws? Answer. Because it uses fear or prejudice to manipulate homeowners into selling, violating both the Federal Fair Housing Act and ARS Section 41-14, 91.17. What must every form of solicitation include under Arizona's advertising rules? Answer. The employing broker's name as licensed with ADRE, as required by R4-2-8-502E. Closing remarks solicitation is a necessary part of real estate business, but professionalism and compliance must always come first. By understanding and respecting the limitations on solicitation methods, licensees maintain public trust and avoid regulatory violations. Ethical solicitation is transparent, honest, and respectful of both legal boundaries and consumer privacy. When in doubt, a simple rule applies. If a method of outreach could be perceived as misleading, invasive, or discriminatory, it likely violates Arizona's laws or the Commissioner's rules.